All right, so here we go. Finding our way to mountain pose up the chair, where we kind of scooch out toward the edge. Just so that the only reason we do that is so that our feet can make really good contact with the floor. And so that we're not kind of slumping backwards, because we want to press our feet into the floor and then sit up really tall. Imagine that there's like this energy, this string coming through your body from maybe where your hips are pressing into the chair all the way up through the crown of your head, so that you're nice and tall. And then make sure that you haven't overdone it. Make sure that you're still comfortable. So maybe move your shoulders and neck around a little bit and make sure that they feel nice. So we want to be awake, alert, and in a position that shows that we're awake and alert, but without stressing. We're not so tense that anything's stressed out. And then just close your eyes for a few moments. Find a comfortable place for your hands to rest in your lap. A couple of observations about how you feel. Asking yourself gently and kindly how it's going right now. And trying to not judge whatever the answer is. Sometimes we can be our own harshest critics. See if you can welcome whatever your body, your mind has to say right now in the moment. In the same spirit that you would listen kindly to one of your dearest friends or loved ones. So letting that go. It was pretty cold out there today, so I thought that we would start with our dynamic breathing to generate a little heat in the body. So that's the one where we flap our chicken wings up and down and we're breathing in and out through the nose rapidly. So the thing to remember when we try this one is to keep your mouth shut, because otherwise you might hyperventilate, and we don't want any of that. So we're breathing in and out through the nose. And that's basically the most basic part of it. And if you want to add the arms, when I give you that option, you can, and we'll just see how it goes. If at any point you need to slow down or back off a little bit, that's fine too. There's no point in making yourself dizzy or uncomfortable or anything. So it goes a little something like this. We're breathing in and out quickly through the nose, but still trying to take full breaths. So it takes a little bit of practice to get the hang of it, but it goes a little something like this. So hopefully you can sort of hear that. I'm going ha, 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 like through the nose. Breaths are going in and out through the nose. So give it a shot if you haven't already. And if it's going okay, then maybe try adding the arms. So it goes like this. The inhale, the elbows come up, and the exhale, the elbows come down. So if you're liking how it is right now, you can stay in the chair. But if you want to stand up for a moment, there is a third addition to this breathing exercise, and that's bending the knees. So it looks a little something like this. The elbows are up, and then when they come down, you bend your knees. So that's the exhale move. So inhale move is up and legs straight. Exhale move is squatting a little bit and pumping those elbows. So here we go. All right, letting that go. come back down to your seat if you stood up and just close your eyes for a few seconds and let everything kind of settle back down. See if you can notice how that type of breathing made you feel, that dynamic breathing, sometimes known as bellows breathing too, like the idea that we're pumping the air out like bellows. So if you're anything like me, it kind of gives you a little bit of that feeling like that you just exercised, gone on a brisk walk. Sometimes you even feel a little bit hot, maybe a little bit sweaty, but you don't have to do it for very long, just a minute or two to cultivate that kind of feeling in the body. So it can be a useful breathing exercise to have handy anytime you need to generate a little warmth, or if you're feeling tired, but you can't, it's too late in the day to have any more coffee or something like that. So let's go ahead and move on to the rest of our practice. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, reaching, and then exhale, flip your palms, come on down. Inhale, lengthen and stretch. Flip palms, exhale, come on down. Back and forth a few times. So it may sound silly whenever I say, things like to really reach or really push or anything like that, but I'm doing a little update or an expansion in my yoga training right now. I'm getting additional hours, and some of the units I'm doing is reminding me of just how important some of those things are. So I'll tell you more in a second. Just reach, and then bend at the elbows, hands on top of the shoulders, big circles. So the reason some of that is important is it's a great way to build strength and even bone density or maintain bone density. Take it the other way around. As we age, without putting so much stress on the body. So we don't have to go out and run or, jump around and slam our legs or bones into the floor. We can create tone and strengthen the bone and muscles through that action of like really reaching and pressing the muscles as much as possible when we do some of these yoga moves. So letting it go, hands here on the knees, round your back and tuck your chin. Sliding the hands down the knee a little bit, and then the opposite. So hands along the thighs, looking up a little bit. Exhale, round. Back and forth. So many of the poses that we do in this class are about movement, about flexibility, about range of motion, but some of them are about strength too and balance. So when you hear me cueing those things like to really reach or to really press the feet into the floor or any of that kind of stuff, that's your kind of like little secret clue that we're working on something that has a little bit of strength involved. And you might be cultivating some strength, whether you realize it or not. Okay, back and forth. Maybe one more. And let it go. So let's work on the side body a little bit. So for this one, let's take our knees apart a little bit. Toes and knees headed in the same direction. And then this is the side body. So we're going to warm up into it, going back and forth a little bit. So move your hands across the body to help with that motion. Inhale, come to the center. Exhale, press in opposite directions and lean the other way. Inhale, back in the center. A couple more. So let's keep mimicking this motion, but change up what we're doing with the arms. The fingertips come lightly here on the back of the head. Elbows are out. Let's sort of lean over one way. Inhale to center. Lean over the other way. Your pace. Let your breath be kind of like your metronome of how fast you should go. All right. The next time you're over here on the right, let's go ahead and get stretchy with it a little bit. So elbow resting here on the thigh. Open your chest a little bit toward the sky, and then take your hands straight up at first. See how that feels. And then if you don't feel much of a stretch in your side when you do that, maybe try letting your hand come overhead and your bicep, like the meaty part of your arm, kind of by your ear. See what that does. See how that feels in the side. And if even that doesn't do it, then let this arm kind of drip over. Find your perfect stretch, exploring your anatomy and what works best for you. Breathing, holding. Okay, reach through those fingertips one more moment, wherever they are, and then bring yourself on back up. Let's try that the other way. Left elbow here on the thigh, pressing the elbow in, lifting the chest, and then start with fingers skyward. See how that feels, reaching. And then maybe bring this bicep kind of by the ear. You see how that creates this big long line down your side. Sometimes that stretch feels really nice. And then other days, oh, this is what we need. We need to kind of let those fingers dangle and drape overhead. Wherever you've landed, really reaching, really pressing with this left elbow into the thigh, reaching with the right fingertips. And let it go. Come on back to the center line. Okay, you can bring your feet a little closer together. Let's twist. That's the only thing we haven't warmed up quite yet. So inhale, reach skyward. Exhale, let's just bring our hands out and down to shoulder height. So hopefully you got enough room to do that without hitting anything. And then twist over here to your left. Inhale, center, reach skyward once more. Exhale, twist to the right. Back and forth a few more times. We got maybe one more. All right, lovely. Bring yourself on back to the center. So let's keep working. We warmed up a lot here in the side body. Let's keep working in this core region and see what we can discover. So let's do our dancing cat next. And you guys can stay put. Let me turn to the side just so you see what I'm up to. The dancing cat is the one where we're still kind of doing that cat-cow motion with the spine, but we're adding a little bit of movement in the legs too. So we'll start by inhaling and taking this right leg up off of the floor as high as we can take it. And so when you do that, try to round yourself toward it. Like you could take the nose toward your knee. Doesn't really have to get there or anywhere close. That's just the action. Got my back rounded. And then when I put my foot back down on the earth, that's where we find the cow. So I'm sliding the hands along the thighs, squeezing the shoulder blades together, looking up with the lift in the chest. So those are the two moves. Exhale, round your way into the cat. Lift the left leg this time. Inhale, move back through cow. Keep your feet on the floor. So that's our dancing cat. A couple more times on your pace. And as you get used to it, as you feel like you're falling into a rhythm, the thing that you can pay extra attention to is how it feels in your abs when you have that leg lifted. So squeezing, it's almost like you got a seat belt down there that's like really low and you're trying to avoid it. Like it's a gross seat belt, like on an airplane or a bus or something. You're sucking in to try to avoid that seat belt region. That's how we really can strengthen our abs here with this pose, lifting the legs, creating motion and movements, but also strength. Okay. Maybe one more. Lovely. Okay, so let's keep building on that idea and we'll take it up a notch. I think many of you have done this one with me before. We'll go back and forth between our goddess legs and our star pose at the chair. So that looks a little bit like this. Again, these are our goddess legs. The knees are apart, toes and knees headed in the same direction. And then our star pose is where we have one or both legs extended and then the hands and arms extended too. And this is one of those where we reach. The only reason I don't point my toes is so I don't fall out of the chair, but I'm still reaching through the crown of my head and through my heels. So that's star pose. So let's take one leg back in. I'm going to take my right leg back in. And we're going to move back and forth between, kind of like that dancing cat, slowly hugging this left leg in, rounding over it, and then slowly opening back up to that half star position. So try that, seeing how slow you can go. The movement, the control going on in all of these muscles in your abs and your trunk and in your legs, helping build strength. Okay, maybe 2 or 3 more. And just when you think you can't do anymore, that's when we'll let it go. Set it down, try it on the other side. Extending this right leg if you're on the same side with me. If not, just switch to the other one, no big deal. And then slowly hugging it in, rounding over it like you're doing cat pose, and then slowly extending everything back out. Just keeping that left leg on the ground for a little stability. Two or three more. And maybe last one. Meet me here in our goddess pose. So you can grab the back of your chair, kind of lift your chest, stretch a little bit. If that's not good enough of a stretch for you, interlace your fingers back there and try the same thing. Just holding and breathing for a moment. Okay, and then let it go. So we just really worked some of these, what are called your hip flexors here in your legs. So let's stretch them out a little bit. Come on over to your right side so that your right hip and thigh are on your chair. If you can, make sure that you're able to press this right foot really firmly into the floor. I'm a little bit too short for this chair, so I'm going to grab a block or a book or something like that to help me with this. Again, this is to help make sure that we're building strength when we try these exercises. So give yourself something firm to press into. And then see about taking this left leg and pointing the knee down toward the earth. Back here in the back, I got my toes tucked and my heel up. So this is kind of option number 1. We're trying to feel stretch here. If you are trying to get here and it's just a no-go, then another option is to have this leg over here to the side, wherever you can get it, and then kind of inch it back until maybe you feel a little stretch. But if you're here and this is comfortable, but you don't feel very much stretch, then try walking your toes back a little bit further. Okay, those are your options wherever you land. Let's just do a simple thing with our hands and kind of just press them into this front thigh here while we press this right foot into the floor and press those left toes into the floor. Trying to sit up really tall, like it's picture day. We're trying to look good for mama in elementary school. And sit up nice and tall. Holding and breathing. Noticing how that sensation of stretch in the leg changes maybe over time a little bit. And let it go. Okay, let's try all that on the other side. Sitting up with your left thigh on the close to the edge of your seat. If you need a book or a prop or something to press your foot into, grabbing it, and then taking this right knee and kind of pointing it down toward the earth to start with. Toes tucked, heel up, or out here to the side, or further back. Man, I'm tight this week, so this is all I got. Okay, so hands pressing into the thighs, pressing those toes into the floor, pressing this left leg into the floor, sitting up tall, and holding and breathing. Lovely. Let it go. Come on back around. So we just did some nice cool down already for our quads, these muscles here. Let's try to give a nice cool down to the rest of our body. So we'll do hamstrings next. For that one, we kind of scooch out toward the edge of our seat, extend whichever leg you'd like to start with. Toes come up to the sky. We sit up tall and then we hinge forward until we feel stretchy sensation on the backside of this extended leg. Playing around with the details until we really find the stretch. Maybe it's that we need to lift the toes a little bit more or really press through the heel, or maybe we hinge forward a little bit further. Or maybe we just let time pass and focus on our breathing. Sometimes that's the magic stuff. Okay, come on up. Let's try that on the other side. Leg extended, toes go skyward, tall spine, hinging forward. Breathing. If when we get to these longer holds, your mind is still really busy and has a lot to say, you can always use something simple like counting your breath or focusing on the sensations in your body to help keep you present. Sitting up tall. Let's cross this right leg over, flexing the foot, and then we still have the option to kind of sit up tall and hinge forward if we need to in order to find the stretch in the hip. If this is uncomfortable or your leg doesn't come up that high, always got the option to sort of use this leg, the left leg kind of extended as a way to prop yourself up. Or if you have anything handy around like a low stool, a couple of pillows, anything like that will do too. Breathing. Imagining that the longer you're here, the more any tightness, any soreness is eased away from the body. Imagining that a little bit of time and a little bit of breathing is really all you need. Let's try that with the other leg. Crossing over, making that figure 4 shape, flexing this foot. And then if you don't feel stretch over here, look for it by tipping forward just a little bit. Lovely. Letting that go, finding your way to a comfortable position for meditation for you. Maybe that's back in that mountain pose that we started off in. One where the knees are right above the ankles and we're sitting up tall, hands on the lap. And close your eyes. Just allowing yourself to focus on your breathing for a few moments. Let's try just a little bit of a visual to help with that heat that we were trying to cultivate earlier in practice. So just imagine using all your senses that you're outside on a day that's just the perfect temperature for you. The sun is shining, the angle of the rays are just how you like it. Even with your eyes closed, you can see those effects of that beautiful sun and feel it on your skin. If it's a hot day, maybe you can even taste the salt on your lips or smell the grass in the air. Or if it's like an autumn sun for you, and whatever tastes or smells are associated with those days when you like the weather best. Once you feel like you've got a good picture in mind, just imagine it like a ball, like you can control it, like a ball of warmth, of heat that you can move throughout your body. Maybe taking it down to your extremities or any place you're cold. Or maybe if it's that your heart is what is longing to see the sun again, then maybe it's your heart that needs the attention. Just imagine that the sunlight goes wherever you need it to go and makes you feel the way you'd like to feel. And so letting that go, tuning back into your senses and the world around you a little bit. And that is how we will sign off from each other, taking one more big inhale together, sweeping the arms up overhead, and then the hands meet and head down to our hearts. Thank you so much.